Good day and welcome to the India Foundation Sustainability Dialogue. Today, we are delighted to feature a conversation with one of India's foremost voices in conservation and environmental leadership, His Excellency Dr. S.P. Yadav, Director General of the International Big Cat Alliance. International Big Cat Alliance is a global initiative to conserve seven major big cat species. And to talk about Dr. Yadav has been instrumental in shaping India's wildlife conservation efforts and in advancing the global dialogue on biodiversity and climate resilience. An avid wildlife enthusiast, he is well known for his contribution towards the conservation of big cats, especially the tiger and cheetah in India. He has served as an officer in the Indian Forest Service and has successfully led the government's conservation agenda. He spearheaded the first ever wild-to-wild intercontinental translocation of cheetah from Africa to India. Dr. Yadav was conferred with the prestigious National Award for Wildlife Conservation by the Government of India and with the first Global Leadership Award in Conservation by the Global Tiger Initiative Council. Recently, he has been conferred with the International Crystal Compass Award by the Russian Geographical Society for his contribution to tiger conservation in India and efforts to promote tiger conservation at the global level. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to have you with us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, to begin, I have divided our discussion into 5 segments, and these segments are connections between conservation and climate, conservation as a tool of diplomacy, the role of technology, finance, and capacity building in conservation, then what has been India's conservation and what lessons we offer for other countries, and then future plans of the International Big Cat Alliance.
Right.
So, sir, we begin now. Sir, we know that India's climate action strategy is becoming increasingly holistic and we are integrating conservation, technology and diplomacy. So, sir, from your perspective, how central is biodiversity conservation and particularly initiatives, say like the International Big Cat Alliance, to India's overall climate leadership journey?
I would say that India is taking leadership in all these negotiations of climate change and biodiversity conservation. If you see the ethos between the Western countries and India, there is huge difference. Like all Western countries, their principle or ethos are basically anthropocentric, like human-centric. But if you see for India, from ancient times, our culture is nature-centric. We call Prakriti as mother. We call earth as a mother. So our philosophy has been entirely different from the Western countries. So this climate change, biodiversity conservation, wildlife conservation, they have been central to our philosophy and principles for all these negotiations which are going on. Biodiversity, if you see, has been in the core of our all negotiations at international levels, because it's not, we just not say it, we lived with all these conservation principles. And this has been very, very important. If you see, I would say that our ancient systems, our forefathers, they were very wise. They connected our lifestyles, our religion with all conservation ethos and principles. We worship most of the animals. We have related all these animals with the god and goddesses. And this is how we respect our forest and wildlife. And therefore, in all negotiations, this has been a core, the biodiversity conservation has been in core of all our negotiations, or India's leadership has always valued and respected biodiversity conservation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, sir. And I really liked how you presented that how animals have been depicted like the Vahan of all our gods and goddesses. And then we also worship some plants and trees which are very sacred for us. Sir, coming to our next question. The International Big Cat Alliance has drawn global attention as a symbol of ecological leadership. Sir, if you could shed some light on what motivated its establishment, and how does this particular initiative reflects our country's vision of planetary responsibility and South-South cooperation?
Yes, the International Big Cat Alliance is the vision of Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji. And during 2019 at Eastern Economic Forum at Vladivostok in Russia, first time he mentioned that there is a need to forge an alliance of all range countries to protect the big cats, not only the big cats, but the biodiversity. And finally, with the approval of cabinet, the International Big Cat Alliance was established on 12th March 2024. And so we have already, it's one more than 1 year old organization. If you see, the tiger is our national animal. And tiger is a symbol of wildlife conservation in India and biodiversity conservation of India. Take example of single tiger. It covers, there are 58 tiger reserves now, and it covers more than 84,000 square kilometer of habitat, which is fully protected. So all biodiversity is conserved in this area. And if you see International Big Cat Alliance, it has 7 big cats: tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar, puma. So 7 big cats, they are found in 95 countries. So I'll just go back to the history. In 2010, first time the global leaders, the prime minister and ministers of tiger range country, they met at St. Petersburg in Russia for the Global Tiger Summit. And all the leaders, there are 13 tiger range countries, and they all met there. And they, because tiger is highly endangered, so this summit was first time any summit was organized for a big cat. Well, that was in 2010. And all countries, all leaders, they committed to double the number by 2022 in 12 years of time. But if you see that it did not happen. Many countries like Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, they lost all the tigers. In fact, today also, if you see, the tiger numbers are increasing in India, Bhutan, Nepal, and Russia only. In all other countries, it is either declining or static, or as I said, in 3 countries, they have lost all the tigers. So this is the scenario now. And even after so much of awareness, so much of political commitment, so much of resources being deployed in conservation of tigers, the situation is still not that satisfactory. So but India has been successful. India is a global leader in tiger conservation. We have more than 70% tiger population. Right now, around there are 5,000 tigers in the world, and we have approximately 4,000 tigers in India itself.
Okay.
So we are the global leader in tiger conservation. If you see the leopard population, we are the largest leopard range country in the world. Leopard, we have around 15,000 leopards in our country. And if you see the lions, the Asiatic lion, we are the only home to Asiatic lions. If you see the African lion population, which we always see on TV, on different channels, Animal Planet and Discovery and all, National Geography, the African lion population is rapidly declining. Okay. But in India, if you see, we are the only home to Asiatic lion, and the population is doing very well. It's showing a healthy rate of growth over the years, and now population is around 900 in our country. So tiger, we are the global leaders. Asiatic lion, we are doing very well. Leopard population, we are the largest range country in the world. The snow leopard, we have very static population of snow leopards, which is found in mountainous regions and the snow-capped peaks and all. But we are very stable. We are the 3rd largest country in the snow leopard. So tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard. Now cheetah. We lost the only mammal from our country, and biodiversity loss is rampant. Right, but the large mammal, we lost cheetah. Last cheetahs were shot in 1947 December in Korea district of Chhattisgarh. Okay. And in 1952, we declared cheetah as extinct. And since then, in 1952 itself, the Indian Board of Wildlife decided to bring it back because this is the only mammal which we have lost. So it took us more than 70 years, but we finally, as during the introductory points, you said that, we finally successfully brought cheetah back to our country after 70 years. Mm-hmm. So out of 7 big cats, in 5 big cats, we have very commanding position. So this led that because all these big cats are facing problems of survival, their population is declining, and on the name of these big cats, we can protect their habitats and biodiversity. So that's why the India, because out of 7 big cats, India has 5 big cats, and so the leadership is very, very relevant for India. And in fact, many countries we can support, we can help many countries. India can help many countries to revive their population or to arrest the decline of big cats in their country. So that's why the India took this leadership to support all other countries which want to protect their biodiversity, their habitat on the name of big cats.
It's so heartening to hear, sir, that we have taken a commanding position when it comes to conservation of big cats, and especially tigers and Asiatic lions. India is doing very well, and now we also have cheetah, which we lost in 47.
Correct.
Now we also have cheetahs coming back to us. Sir, and we'll have more discussion on how International Big Cat Alliance is going to help other countries in the later part of our discussion. Sir, right now I want to understand from you. Sir, generally we see climate change and biodiversity loss. Generally we treat them as parallel issues, but they have a deep interconnection. So, sir, if you could tell us how International Big Cat Alliance is seeking to address this nexus in its work through its partner organizations as well as partner nations.
So you rightly said, if a crisis is coin, climate change and biodiversity loss, both are part of the same coin. So both are related and both contribute to each other.
Right.
Means climate change leads to biodiversity loss leads to climate change kind of thing. So it's a serious issue. In fact, most of the countries, they are facing this issue, and it's a very globally recognized. It's not only the island countries like Maldives or small countries they're suffering. All even developed countries and big countries, they are facing this problem. As per the report, the biodiversity loss is very, very severe because of unsustainable exploitation of natural resources. We are losing species at very, very fast rate, and this is a really alarming position. Global warming, we all know about that, and now we are facing this nature vagaries that rainfall pattern has changed, temperature is rising, and cyclones and tsunami kind of things and tornadoes, and they are creating havocs, and floods, landslides. These are all impact of climate change. But both are hugely related to each other. And solution is very simple. Like you conserve your forest and wildlife on the name of forest. The carbon, you have to prevent the carbon emission into the wildlife to atmosphere. And the best way to carbon sequester or conserve carbon is forestation. Our trees, our forest and biodiversity. So by protecting biodiversity, you are helping in mitigation of climate change, because you are not only locking the carbons in the tree growth, but you are preventing carbon emission. The carbon is not released, they are locked. So it's a climate regulation, the soil and moisture conservation, the water. And one very interesting fact I will tell you, that how big cats, they contribute or they represent biodiversity conservation. Take simple example of tiger in our country. As I said, there are 58 tiger reserves and more than 84,000 square kilometer habitats, which is protected on the name of tiger. And you won't believe that more than 600 sweetwater streams and rivers, either they originate in tiger habitat or they have their vast and a major catchment in tiger habitat. So for water security of the country, you need to protect the tiger. And on the name of tiger, this habitat is protected. You get the sweet water for drinking, which is a problem now, because India has only 4% of global sweet water deposit, and we are sustaining more than 16-17% human population and 18% cattle population. So, and all these reserves, they are repository of biodiversity, because our laws are very strict. They are governed under the Wildlife Protection Act. And if you see the big cat habitat, tiger reserve, there is a core zone there is surrounding buffer zone and then corridor and all. So core zone is maintained completely inviolate as per the law, like no developmental activities or very minimum human interference and all. So by the strict protection, your biodiversity is protected. And this is how this big cat conservation or biodiversity conservation that helps in mitigation of climate change.
I think, sir, in your point, you raised a very important issue that of these 84,000 square kilometers that we have these tiger reserves, and these are source of fresh water. So I think our life depends on conservation of big cats.
Yes, our survival depends on conservation.
Right, sir, absolutely. Sir, big cats are apex predators and keystone species. Could you please explain how their conservation contributes to broader ecosystem resilience and even to climate stability? I think you made one point right now by connecting how our survival and depends. But if you could shed some more light.
So we have seen the example of tigers. I just gave example of fresh water, that how we are getting fresh water out of it. Besides fresh water, there are number of ecosystem services like climate regulation, microclimate they affect, soil and moisture conservation, the landslides and the soil erosion they prevent, they increase the fertility of soil. And so by name of conserving these big cats, this all ecosystem services, the benefit of ecosystem services, we get out of it. Take example of snow leopard. Snow leopard is right indicator of climate change because it needs a habitat which is snow covered or snow capped mountains and hillocks. If a snow leopard is found there, it's indicator that your ecosystem, the mountainous ecosystem, is in balance and nothing to worry. But if the snow leopard are disappearing, their population is reducing, that means that there's something wrong and they're being affected by global warming or climate change. So these snow leopards are called ghost of mountains, and they, on the name of a snow leopard, you preserve and conserve their habitats, and again that gives this sweet water to the stream, like rivers like Ganges and all other rivers which get glacier water from their melting and all. So they are important. Similarly, if you see jaguar and pumas, they are in Americas, and jaguar, you must have heard this Amazon forest and right. So all these forests, on the name of jaguar only, they are getting protected, and they provide immense ecosystem services. And if biodiversity is preserved and conserved, then you can sustainably utilize them for the benefit of humankind. There are several wild cultivars from which this our domesticated cultivating varieties, food, they are developed by selection, by different plant breeding methods and all. So they are a repository of enormous wealth, and they can be sustainably utilized by humankind for their benefit. But before that, you need to protect and conserve all this biodiversity and habitat of big cats. So we have taken example of snow leopard, tigers, and jaguar and puma. And similarly is situation with these big cats, lion and cheetahs, because they're all apex predator. Once apex predator is there, like if tiger is there, it means entire ecosystem below him is in balance and doing well. And if ecosystem is in balance, we get all these ecosystem services. If tiger is not there, it means your ecosystem is not in balance. Apex predator, it regulates the population of herbivores, right?
Food chain.
Right. Regulates the population of herbivore so that herbivore population cannot go infinitely in large number. They will ultimately they will eat away grasses and disturb the ecosystem. So by regulating the population of herbivores, it controls the ecosystem, and then it regulates, like tiger number. I'll just an example. one tiger, it hunts a deer in 4 to 6 days or similar 1 week. So for survival of one tiger, you need 500 to 550 spotted deers. And that will sustain it. Means if 550, 500 spotted deers are there, one tiger can survive around the year on sustainable basis. For 500 to 550 spotted deers, you need a large space.
Right.
So one tiger commands that much of area, and that's how it keeps in balance of entire system, ecosystem. So therefore, the role of apex predator becomes very, very important in maintaining the ecosystem and biodiversity of that area. And by preventing the infinite increase in herbivore population, it also helps in regenerating forest. So this is a complex relationship, but the
very vital for our existence also.
Yes.
So last question in this segment. So, sir, how can landscape-based conservation, such as say maintaining wildlife corridors or habitats, can support in climate adaptation?
You're right. Now, like India has already adopted it, many countries are doing this, the landscape level approach. Because it's not only the protected area, it's not only the tiger reserves, their surrounding also affects the conservation of biodiversity. So in landscape, we consider and manage the entire area which is surrounding to these protected areas. They may be the agricultural land, the riverine system, the grasslands, the meadows, everything has to be, there has to be holistic management. For holistic management, a landscape level basis of management, because all external factors, your development, your roads, rails, everything that affects the habitat of wildlife or protected areas. So therefore, a landscape level management is very, very important. And that's the right thing to do right now. Like you need development. We are developing, and I mean, most of the countries are developing economies. You need employment, you need development, you need growth, you need economic growth. From where it will come? But if you see the landscape level management, then you provide mitigation measures which will keep check and balance for these developmental activities, which will not adversely impact our wildlife or this conservation. Therefore, landscape level management has become extremely important. We have to factor in the people who are living in the fringe area. It's not that you cannot treat wildlife in isolation and manage only wildlife as their habitat. Large number of people, poor people, they are dependent on these forest resources for their requirement, daily requirement, like fuel, wood, fodder and all. For employment also, so therefore they cannot be treated in isolation. And therefore this landscape level management is extremely important, because every this kind of individuals or people or land use, they impact and affect our wildlife conservation.
Yeah, and since India is actually National Adaptation Plan is underway in India, I'm sure with you at the helm of International Big Cat Alliance, I'm sure government must be informed, and they must be including all these aspects in their planning as well. So, yeah.
Yes. In fact, now whatever developmental activities in our country takes place, if they are passing through forest land, if they are passing through protected area, then it is mandatory to adopt the mitigation measures. Like if you see the national highways, the underpasses and overpasses for wildlife, they are, though it is expensive, but they are built in. And without that, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Wildlife, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, they do not give permission for all these developmental activities. So that's India is setting an example, a kind of role model. The longest underpass is between Kana and Pech tiger reserves, and it's when it was prescribed, there were a lot of opposition, like it is involving huge cost now. But now everybody is happy that traffic is going on this road, and all animals, including tigers, deer, sambars, everything, they are using the
Right.
The area
In fact,
area will
elephants, I have seen number of time on social media, they show how elephants are crossing the highways.
all right.
Yeah.
So elephants are another animal. They need corridor, and they because habitat fragmentation is a big issue. And to ensure that habitat fragmentation because of developmental activities does not adversely impact these animals, then the passage is required, safe passage.
Right.
So for elephants also,
Right.
this kind of mitigation measures are prescribed when wildlife clearance or forest clearance is accorded by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change.
Thank you, sir. With this, we end the first segment of our discussion. Now we come to the second segment, which deals with India's global role and international cooperation. So, sir, we as a country have been really playing a pivotal role in bridging developed and developing countries in both climate and biodiversity negotiations. Sir, if you could shed some light on how the International Big Cat Alliance is helping to advance this leadership through international partnerships.
Uh, in fact, this International Big Cat Alliance is a symbol of Global South leadership, South-South cooperation. And as I said that it has been founded by the Government of India, and because of our leadership role in different big cats conservation, and our role has been very well established, and this is based on our successful track records that we are doing very well, India is doing very well. So in this Big Cat Alliance, there are 95 countries, 95 range countries. They are in Americas, they are in Africa, in Asian countries. And if you see the most of the countries, they're either low income or low middle income countries. Very few are developed countries. They all need support. And this crisis of biodiversity loss or climate change or the reduction in the population of all these big cats and other wildlife is very, very obvious. So all these countries, they need support. They need resources. They need technology. They need skill and capacity building. And this is how this platform of International Big Cat Alliance is playing its role in supporting these countries. So in that way, it becomes very, very important. Because at this present time and age, you need not reinvent entire process.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Because you can share your best practices and knowledge and skill with other countries. There's no need of reinventing, investing money and resources and time on these things. So therefore, the International Big Cat Alliance brings in a lot of good practices, lot of success stories, which can be ready-made, they're ready-made available and can be shared with all these developing countries and the member countries or big cat range countries. In that way, it's supporting in, because Big Cat Alliance draws its strength from success of India. And India has shown its leadership in successful conservation of big cats and biodiversity and all these things. So this is setting a role model kind of thing to follow in other countries. Many countries, they have requested for support and support in capacity, support in skill and technology. Like Cambodia, Cambodia, as I said, that it lost all the tigers. Now, because India has success of tiger reintroduction experience, first in the world, in Sariska tiger reserves, followed by Panna tiger reserves. So they want to reintroduce tigers, and IBCA and Government of India, they are helping now the Government of Cambodia in bringing back tigers in Cambodia. So in this way, the International Big Cat Alliance is supporting countries, helping countries, trying to understand their gaps and knowledge gaps and trying to pitch in wherever it is required.
Yeah, and the way you explained, like you gave this Cambodia experience, it appears that even these tiger range countries as well as big cat range countries, they are also very keen to avail this support from International Big Cat Alliance. So, sir, looking ahead, how do you see this concept of conservation diplomacy evolving, especially in relation to climate cooperation, and we have biodiversity frameworks like Global Biodiversity Framework. So how you see this evolution?
This big cat conservation I see as soft diplomacy or green diplomacy, because there are different geopolitical issues where people cannot talk. But on these points of big cat conservation, biodiversity conservation, the countries, they are really, they want, because it affects their life. So this is extremely important, green diplomacy or soft diplomacy or big cat diplomacy, which this through international big cat alliance it can happen. In fact, if you see the big cat habitats, they are not confined to geographical boundaries.
Right.
Take example of India again. India, Nepal, India, Bhutan, India, Bangladesh. They share their boundaries and the habitat of tigers.
Yes.
Like Sundarban tigers in West Bengal or India, and it cannot, the boundary extends to Bangladesh. So that's mangrove habitat that extends to Bangladesh. So in isolation, if tigers are not doing good in Bangladesh, it will definitely adversely impact the Indian side. Similarly, take Nepal.
Valmiki Nagar,
Dudhwa, Katarnia Ghat, all these boundaries share with Nepal. Our tigers, they go there, their tigers come with tigers, with rhinos also, with elephants, all this. So these issues are transnational, transborder, cross-border issue. Therefore, the soft diplomacy, the power of big cat diplomacy as a soft diplomacy or green diplomacy becomes extremely important, because this unites the countries, because they want to save the big cats. Right. So therefore, I believe that this is a very potential tool for negotiations and cooperation and collaboration.
And maybe it can also contribute to global peace.
Yes.
Okay. So, coming to the third segment of our discussion, you already gave a glimpse of how technology is crucial for biodiversity conservation and how IBCA has already been helping countries with it. Sir, I just want to understand from you that now we have, say, number of AI-based monitoring and satellite mapping systems. So, sir, if you could go a bit in depth in this, that how IBCA is using technology to enhance conservation outcomes. Some examples.
Let us, I'll go back to the history a little bit. Before 2002, in India, this tiger were counted. There was census kind of thing. When census means head count.
Right, sir.
And tigers' numbers were counted by their footprints. When they walk on the soil, they leave their footprint.
Right.
And that was converted into plaster cast. And on that basis, the tigers were counted. But you can also understand that when tiger walks on soft soil, on hard soil, or on sandy soil or rocks, foot impression will be different of the same tiger.
Right.
So this counting method was faulty, and you get underestimation, overestimation.
Right, sir.
And but India lost all the tigers in Sariska tiger reserve in 2005, and that led to thinking that let us involve science. So the counting method was developed using technology, using camera traps, using the statistical models. So now the entire country is divided into grids, 2 square kilometer grids, a pair of cameras are placed, and the tiger stripes are like our fingerprints. Okay. They never match with each other.
Okay.
Like their biometric details or like Aadhaar. So now the photographs are taken by automatic cameras, which are, as I said, entire habitat is divided in 2 square kilometer grid, and a pair of cameras are placed where tiger walks. So these cameras, they automatically take the photograph of tiger, and then photographs are collected from these cameras, and they are then analyzed using softwares, using artificial intelligence. Then unique identity of each tiger is established. So this is a hardcore science.
Right.
And India has been leading this. India has this Guinness World Record also for deploying maximum number of cameras for animal counting or animal estimation in the world. So how, and this science we have utilized very successfully. As you rightly said that satellite monitoring is again important. Now the radio collars, like animals, if they're like we brought all the cheetahs, and cheetahs were when released, they were all with radio collars, with satellite tracking, so that you can monitor their movement for understanding their behavior, their social dynamics, or their home range, and establish all these things. There are acoustics being used to identify animals. There are electronic surveillance where 24/7 kind of monitoring, day and night monitoring is done through using thermal cameras and infrared cameras with a long range infrared cameras. There are a number of technological advances which country like India, they practice, or different part of the world. So what IBC is doing, that we are organizing this capacity building programs of range countries and providing them in hand practice, hands-on on all these technologies. GIS mapping of habitat, again that is very, very important, that habitat degradation. Like India is using M-Stripes software, that is monitoring M-Stripes, monitoring intensive protection of tigers and their ecological system.
Okay.
It's a app-based tool, a software, where when the patrolling is done, the guard he is required to switch it on, and it records all patrolling paths and illegal activities which we are taking. When he comes back, the data is collected by the computer, it goes to the server, and then it is analyzed. This is called smart patrolling. So there are a number of advances which these countries, particularly India, that has done, and IBC is trying to
scale it up.
And build the capacity of other range countries. Like there is land of leopards in Vladivostok and Russia. They are learning that how to deploy this camera traps and how to use these photographs for coming out to the number of their Amur leopards, which are highly endangered. So in this way, and what IBC is doing, because different kind of technologies, they are available being in practice in different parts of the world. There is no single source. Otherwise, you keep on searching in Google and read the journals and papers and media. So we have established one think tank of global experts, which is thinking 20 years, 30 years ahead of the time. That what will be the situation after 20 years or 30 years? What kind of technology that will be required? So this think tank, there are global experts in it. They're thinking and trying to develop innovative solutions using technology. Another thing which IBC is doing is we are bringing out status of technologies in the world which are used in wildlife conservation. So at single platform, all latest technology which is being used in the world and for wildlife conservation, that will be available to the countries, to the researchers, scientists, and practitioners. And we intend to bring it every year. We keep on updating it. So in that way, we are helping and supporting countries, and because technology, and I mean, at this age, and artificial intelligence technology, that is essential. That has become essential part of everybody's life.
Sir, you talked about capacity building, and you are absolutely right that capacity building is key. So when IBCA is building capacity of people from member nations, do you also focus on building capacities of local communities, youth, then how to utilize indigenous knowledge systems in conservation efforts? So is this also a focus, and these groups, local communities, also a focus for building capacity?
Communities are integral part of conservation. In fact, without community support, no conservation project or scheme can be successful.
Absolutely.
We talked about the landscape level approach, where I said that communities or people who are living in that landscape, they become integral part of conservation. And it is also, again, very, very important that I would say that a lot of poor people, they live in and around protected areas, or poverty lives in protected areas, you can say that, because
Right,
there are
sir.
limited resources, limited scope of employment and all. But they lead a natural life, which is self-sustainable kind of thing. The requirements are very low.
Right, sir.
See our travel, tribal people living in and around protected areas, they have a sustainable lifestyle. But we need their support for conservation. We need their traditional knowledge in wildlife conservation, in mitigation of wildlife and human conflicts and all. So from both ways, we need their support, and then also the governments, the park managers, they need to support them as well, because their natural resource dependency is on wildlife habitat.
Right, sir.
It's all shared, and like wildlife also needs that. So the park managers, it's a duty of park managers, the forest officer, to see that how their natural resource dependency is minimized, and they are met from the alternate sources.
Got it, sir.
They need employment. The benefit of conservation must go to these communities, and it should be substantial and direct, so that they become custodians of our wildlife and biodiversity and natural resources. Similarly, youth is again extremely important. There is huge change in time. Like in our time, there was no internet when we were youth or we were studying in the schools and all. But now there is explosion of information
Right, sir.
through internet and all these computers and technology and social media and everything. So youth are much aware now. They are very sensitive about environment, climate change, or plastics and all everything. We need to utilize, we need to equip them, we need to build their knowledge base in a positive manner, so that they become supporter, advocates, and leaders for biodiversity and wildlife conservation. So youth is again very, very important. Right now, we are building capacities and skill upgradation of the officers, training them that how they can involve youths and local communities through eco-development committees and all. But they're all integral part of the development. We cannot keep them in isolation and do only the wildlife conservation. That's not possible in these days and era.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for shedding light on how whole of society approach that IBCA is taking in capacity building. So now coming to the most crucial question, which I would say which is a major cause of controversy, which is a major cause of debate between developed and developing nations, and that is of finance. So, so we all know that it remains a major challenge in conservation as well as climate action. Sir, if you could tell us what innovative financial models or partnerships the IBCA is exploring to ensure long-term sustainability.
So this IBCA has been founded by the Government of India with only 150 crores one-time support, and but we have provisions of generating resources through CSR funding, by voluntary contribution of range countries. There is no joining fee or membership fee for the range countries, because we know that out of 95 countries, more than 90 countries, they are low income and middle income countries, they are poor countries. And they need resources. And as I said, all developing countries, they need development, they need economic growth, they need employment, and for this all. So the wildlife priority, and if you see the priority of the leadership or the governance, the wildlife becomes little low.
Right.
Right? So you rightly pointed out that there is a huge gap in resource requirement by these countries for big cat conservation or wildlife. So this resource generation has become a vital pillar of IBCA, where we are talking with the World Bank. We are in all these discussions are at final stage. We are also entering into MOU with the Asian Development Bank. And now there is a carbon financing. We have partnered with IORA Foundation, one NGO who specializes in converting these carbons into money. So if you see all these big cat habitats, their habitats are like very rich in biodiversity, very good forest cover and all, and they are fully protected. So there is incremental growth in carbon sequestration in this. So if we can convert this carbon into tradable form or convert them into money, so that provides a very good source of income generation for these countries. And we are working on this methodology. We have, and basically, we have entered into MOU with IORA Foundation that at no cost to the countries, they will go there, study their carbon stock, evaluate the incremental growth, and based on that, they can convert this carbon into tradable like instrument and get resources out of it. So we are going for innovative financing models and talking to different donors and financial institutions to support these countries which really need money for conservation and biodiversity conservation.
Thank you, sir, for shedding light on how, which kind of financial models IBCA is exploring for long-term sustainability. Sir, coming to the fourth segment of our discussion. So, sir, how do you see India's conservation policies contributing to our nationally determined contributions and the broader goal of nature positive development that we espouse?
Yes, India is definitely making its impact at international level. You must have heard about the Mission Life,
right, sir,
launched by Honorable Prime Minister of India, and that says that environmental friendly lifestyle, small things they contribute in mitigation of climate change. They help in mitigating this global warming. The India policies are extremely low. We have a number of acts like Environment Protection Act in India, the Wildlife Protection Act, the Forest Conservation Act, which are kind of role models for different countries. The Forest Conservation Act means no forest land can be diverted for any non-forestry use unless approved by the central government. So it's a very small act, but it has a very huge impact on conservation. Like you cannot use forest land for on whims and fancies. There are rules and regulations, and then there are compensatory mechanism to prevent, and if at all any forest land is allowed for the non-forestry use for like developmental activities, it has to be compensated, and the compensatory afforestation and all these measures are taken. Similarly, India has this one of the finest Wildlife Protection Act. All endangered animals, they are kept in Schedule 1, and remaining are Schedule 2, and there are very few which are vermins, which hunting can be allowed. But most of the animals, 99.9% animals in India, they are protected by this Wildlife Protection Act.
Okay.
And the punishments are also very, very severe for like hunting of Schedule 1 animals like tigers, leopards, and lions. You get minimum 3 years imprisonment, maximum 7 years, and property confiscation and penalty there in addition to that. So we have finest Wildlife Protection Act in the world. Similarly, India has this Environment Protection Act. Like any industry or this kind of developmental activities, they need environmental clearance, which is issued after a lot of scrutiny and screening by the government, and with certain conditions which help them in mitigating all these adverse impacts on environment and forest. So with these in background, and with institutions which India has like National Biodiversity Authority, National Tiger Conservation Authority, we have Wildlife Institute of India, So we have ZSI, Zoological Society of India. We have BSI, the Botanical Society of India. We have Forest Survey of India. So all these institutions and the legal background, that is giving an example to other countries, and based on all these backing, India is showing its leadership role at international level on biodiversity conservation, climate negotiations, and all these things.
Thank you, sir, for giving a glimpse of how our laws are, like the kind of laws we have to protect our flora and fauna. Sir, would you say that India's model of big cat conservation offers a template for integrating ecological resilience into national climate strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, again, let us take example of India's Project Tiger. It was launched in 1973, and before that, before 1969, tiger hunting was allowed. And they say that at the turn of century, there were more than 10,000 tigers and all, but it's all guesstimate. So before 1969, the tiger hunting was allowed. But in 69, it was banned. In 1972, this Wildlife Protection Act came, and 1973, the Project Tiger was launched. Project Tiger was launched with 9 reserves covering around 18,000 square kilometers. But now you see the growth of tiger reserves. Now there are 58 tiger reserves, and from 18,000 square kilometers, now it is more than 84,000 square kilometers. So in this way, and again, once an area or sanctuary or national park is declared as a tiger reserve, it gets highest degree of protection under the law. And if you see the statistics now in India, there are around 1,000 national parks and sanctuaries are protected areas. So a vast area, roughly 5% of geographical area, is fully protected and conserved on the name of this wildlife. When we say that fully protected and conserved, it means the forest is intact, regeneration, natural regeneration is taking place, the biodiversity is being conserved in these areas. So in this way, it's all intricately related to each other. And definitely this India's principles of conservation, laws, ethos, and the manpower. Like we have a system of forest department in all countries. There are Indian Forest Service and other forest staff working day and night to maintain or to preserve the ecological security of the country. Right. So in this way, this is helping, and India is showing some kind of leadership in this regard.
Thank you, sir, for this. Now coming to the last segment of our conversation. So this deals with future outlook. So, sir, as we look to the next 5 years, what are IBCA's main priorities and how they align with some of the global frameworks such as the Paris Agreement as well as the Global Biodiversity Framework?
The next 5 years, right now, the countries are showing, there are 95 range countries, and countries are showing a lot of interest, but for formally joining, they require proper approval by the government, like cabinet approval or approval by some countries, they require approval of the parliament. So for 17 countries, and when 14, they have already signed the framework agreement and become formally member of IBCA. 3 countries, they have opted for observer status. In many countries, the process is on, and they will be joining formally the IBCA platform very soon. So next 5 years, one of the target is this, that increasing expansion
of the
organization as much as possible, bringing maximum countries on the platform of IBCA for forging collaboration, and not only the countries, but the organizations which are working for conservation at global level, and then financial institutions, the donors, the NGOs, it will that's one target. And then capacity. Number 2 is capacity building. We are organizing the capacity building program on in situ basis, like last programs in last 24 February, 25 February, we organized one capacity program in Kaziranga Tiger Reserve and National Park, where 44 members from 27 countries they participated, and they were extremely benefited by looking and practicing the certain practices which are being deployed or which is being followed in Kaziranga Tiger Reserves. And so we would be organizing this kind of capacity building program every year. And we are also exploring the possibilities of increasing this kind of program so that maximum number of people, not only the practitioners, but the policy makers, the leaders, they also get sensitized out of these programs. Then the Government of India has taken a decision with IBCA to organize one international summit of big cat range countries 2026, where we want to invite all forest ministers, policy makers, senior level officers and practitioners, communities, tribals, youths in this summit in India, which is likely to take in 26, latter half of 2026. So that's going to be, and the outcome of this summit would be the first global big cat declaration, which has never happened before. So this is what we are aiming in this global summit on big cat conservation. And then another important point which we envisage to do in next 5 years, for all range countries, there are certain requirements. We need to do this SWOT analysis, identify their strengths, what are the good points, what are the bad points, where are the gaps, whether it is skill, capacity, technology, or resources. And based on these kind of scientific analysis, we want to pitch in, we want to support these countries so that they also do well in big cat conservation or biodiversity conservation. So in a nutshell, this is the plan. And besides this, we are very active in social media. In all social media platforms we are active. We are publishing bi-monthly Big Cats magazine, which brings in the best practices across the globe and provides information and knowledge what's happening in different parts of the world to all the stakeholders. So these are the plans right now.
So I think, sir, you have your plates totally full, and I'm sure the coming years would keep you and your team members very busy. Sir, do you also think public-private partnerships can prove to be a very crucial way to conserve the big cats?
In fact, there are different kind of gaps, like as I said, skill, capacity, technology, resources, and there this public-private partnership can play a very important role. That we need to explore that also, and depending upon which like companies and organizations or they're working in which countries and how they can pitch in support. Like if you see the cheetah reintroduction in India, this IUCL, Indian Oil Corporation, they came forward with financial support and they supported with approximately, I think, 50 crores and all initially. So this helps a lot in creating awareness, developing partnership, like they are owning it as a matter of pride for them. So the sense of involvement that also increases, and this public-private partnership in all these developing low-income and middle-income countries, I think that would be a great thing to explore about it.
So now coming to the last question, and it's not a question, sir. It's just what message would you like to convey to policymakers, conservationists, as well as youth about the importance of protecting biodiversity as a cornerstone of climate action?
In fact, if you want to, and I mean, if human beings, they want to live and want to sustain themselves, for their survival, they need to protect this biodiversity and wildlife. It's not they're not doing it for wildlife, but by protecting and conserving wildlife, it ensures survival of human beings. It's deeply imbibed in our cultural and social ethos, and because of this reason, that survival of each other is interdependent. And we must not forget their role in ecosystem. Like, take example of honeybees. If honeybees are lost, then entire agricultural productivity, fruiting, everything, and whatever you do, this will, if honeybee is lost, there will be no pollination or very reduced pollination. So seed setting, fruit setting, everything will be adversely affected. So every creature on this earth, which has been created by the nature, has an important role. Whether we know it or not, we may understand it, we may not understand it, but every creature has a role to play in ecosystem, and we are all part of ecosystem. It's not that human beings are very wise and they can dictate everything.
Right, sir.
Every creature has an important role to play, and let them play. That's how this ecosystem balance will be maintained, and that is important and necessary, essential for survival of all of us. So that's the message I would like to give it to youth and all future generation and policymakers also.
You're absolutely right, sir. And I think this conversation has reinforced how our own survival is dependent on biodiversity conservation. Thank you so much, sir, for giving your invaluable insights, and your work and leadership through IBCA and your previous works continue to inspire not only conservationists but also those who are interested as well as committed to building a sustainable and climate resilient future. It has been a privilege speaking to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
sir.
Shashwat.
Thank you.